Now, in animation, the feeling of you getting stuck, especially in the beginning, when you don't really have ideas or you don't know exactly where you need to go, or you think that animation is not for you, it's very common. And it's common because animation is incredibly difficult. Now, to all those that have been kind of dropping comments about how can you actually get unstuck, or I feel like animation is not for me, or the ones that actually are about to give in and give up, don't. And here is 10 ideas on how you can actually get unstuck in animation. Let's do it. How's it going, guys? Welcome. This is another week, another tips and tricks. My name is Harvey Newman. I've been animating for quite a while now, 15 plus years, and I'm currently an animation director for a games company called Build a Rocket Boy here in the beautiful Edinburgh, Scotland. Now, I have been through this feeling of actually getting stuck for quite a while, and there's been times, especially in the beginning, that I genuinely thought animation is not for me, I'm gonna give up and I'm gonna maybe focus on something else, illustration or any other art form, because it's hard, and then get stuck in the hopes that one day that dream comes true. And unfortunately, it doesn't come true to everybody, right? So it really is a gamble. You're just putting all your chips in and thinking, you know what, I'm gonna go all in, works or not, I'm going to go in and then I'm gonna hope for the best. Now, for those moments that you get stuck, I'm going to give you guys some tips, 10 tips that hopefully will help you through those down times and gives you wings whenever you feel like animation is not for you. Now, not all the tips on this are going to be specific to animation because they're going to be mostly life related. Because if you're anything like me, the act of animation is kind of self-explanatory, but the stuff that actually kind of brings you down and makes you feel a little bit like you aren't sure of yourself is more to do with exterior forces that makes you feel small or makes you feel like you don't doubt yourself. However, they all relate to animation. So I'm going to start with number one. You only get stronger by doing hard things. Now, this is incredibly important for animation because what happens is that animation, especially if you haven't really done anything really hard before, and if you actually came from a background that maybe you had a lot of love and you were protected by your parents and your family, and you never really had to do something incredibly hard to the point that you almost give in or give up, animation is going to feel like that at some point. And you can only get stronger if you tackle hard things. Animation is incredibly hard. Guarantee by the end of your journey, when you become an animator, you will become a stronger person as a result. And this is why this first point is so important. So I'll repeat, you only get stronger by doing hard things. Very important. Number two, making a living requires hard choices. Here's the thing. If you want to be an animator, you need to be ready to give up a lot of the niceties of life because you need to get stuck in and really work on your animation skills. There is no halfway about it, really. If you think that you have a career in this and you are good at it, then you need to actually apply yourself and just animate. And I animate often. The other day I had a subscriber ask me about how often should I animate if I want to become an animator. And back in the day when I was really into animation and wanted to be a professional animator, I animated pretty much every single day for about 3 or 4 years because I really wanted it that bad. Because my job was not very good and I really felt like I needed to earn money from animation soon. Otherwise, I'll better just give up and go somewhere else and do something else. So animating every day, it's definitely the way to go if you really want to get stuck in. It probably won't take you as much time as it did to me nowadays because there's a lot of requirements for a lot of animators out there. But just leave your passion. Just think about athletes like LeBron James or Ronaldo or anybody that is at the top of their game. They got there because they are committed and they are disciplined. And they are disciplined and committed because they want to be the best they can possibly be at what they do. And that should be your mentality all the time in animation. 3, think about your future self. This is basically projecting. So you will project yourself to the future, and if you're starting your journey right now and you think, in the future, I want to be an animator, then think, 5 years from now, I'm going to be a professional animator working on whatever studio you actually want to work on, right? Just make sure that you can see your future self, because if you can see yourself as an animator 3 to 5 years from now, working in that magic studio that you want to work for, in the game or film that you want to work for, then everything is going to feel like it's a race, and you're going to feel motivated, right? Because then you know you need to be there. And if a year went past and you're not closer to that goal, then you just need to speed up and do more and be more applied and do more animations, all of that good stuff, right? So make sure you do that. 4, it's easy to get stuck in animation. Animation has 12 principles. It might seem easy for you to actually get to learn just the 12 principles and then you know how to animate. Unfortunately, it's not that easy. You need to apply yourself in order to really grasp those 12 principles. And then at that point, only then, is the beginning of your journey to actually become a good animator, right? So learning the 12 principles doesn't really mean that you're going to be a good animator by the end, or you're going to get a job by the end. So it's a long journey. There's a lot to actually take into account. Because of this, you will most definitely get stuck in some point or another, or maybe in all of them if you're anything like me. And you will get stuck with different things. Sometimes it's because you haven't really mastered something. Sometimes it's because you haven't really grasped it 100%. Sometimes you just don't understand it. Like, why is timing so important? And what is timing? Like, what is settling? Like, how do you settle a character, right? Like, how do you actually settle a limb? Like, things like that overlap, difficult to comprehend. There's so many things in animation that when you actually start learning and you actually are practicing, even after you understand it, you will get stuck, because you'll feel like after you got it, you will hit a plateau, and then you're gonna think, what's next? Because I feel like my animations are not at the level that they need to be. So why am I stuck? Why am I here? Why can I not be better at my animations? So getting stuck is normal and is part of your journey. And this follows through to tip number 5. It's hard to get unstuck. So easy to get stuck, hard to get unstuck. This is actually getting easier nowadays because you have really good schools like Animation Mentor or iAnimate, or you have one-on-one mentors like myself. You know, not to actually kind of like big myself up, but you do have options nowadays to get unstuck. So you can pay somebody, you can do a course, whatever it is, and that person can tell you why you are stuck and how to get unstuck. When I started, it was pretty much impossible for you to find anybody. I was lucky to find a mentor, Jason Ryan, that actually kind of like got me unstuck from a lot of the stuff that I was doing wrong, because I genuinely didn't really know how to animate until I met Jason. And it was at that point that he actually started highlighting, you're thinking about this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're not spending enough time doing this, you're not like thinking things through properly, you're not planning properly, spend more time planning, less time animating. All of that stuff came through because I had somebody to ask. So like, invest in yourself, get unstuck if you feel like getting stuck for a while. However, if you are just getting stuck and it's just the beginning of your journey, then read a book or try to find somewhere, somehow to get unstuck by yourself, because being resilient and kind of like finding ways to kind of like solve issues by yourself without being handheld is much more important and much more valuable for the future of your animation career. And many points in your career, you're going to have to actually find the path forward yourself. Now, point number 6 is that we don't really appreciate what we have until we lose it. And this is very true. And I know that this is not specifically related to animation, but it's related to what happens outside of animation. Animation can suck you in so much, and it has happened to me, suck you in so much that it feels after a while, especially if you don't get a job within the first 2 or 3 years, 4 years, and you're working hard and you don't understand because your animations are looking pretty good, but no one is actually giving you a job. If all those things are true, you will start feeling like nothing else matters except for animation. It's in these moments that you have to rely on your family and your friends, people that surround you, people that actually give you good advice, because there is more to the world than just animation. animation is definitely one of those things that can feel like overwhelming at points. And if you're hard-headed like me, or I used to be anyways, it might feel just like, I just need to work harder. I just need to push harder. I just need to stop talking with my friends, start talking with people. Like, I need more time. I need to do all these things. And what can I actually discard from my life in order to make more time for animation? That's how bad it got to myself. Now, make sure you spend time with your friends. Make sure you spend time with your family, because those things, when you lose them, you don't get them back. And it's very important for you to keep that nice equilibrium of like being creative and also having a life outside of animation. Now, this actually kind of folds into point number 7 about never taking people for granted, because it's not only about losing the people that you have, but it's also like there's some people in your life that you really need to appreciate as much as possible. Here's how that connects to animation. Whenever you start working professionally, you will find a whole bunch of people around you, and some of the people are going to be really good and going to connect with you 100%, and you're going to be like, yay, great, especially if you're like a, sociable guy. Some people won't. Some people just won't like you for whatever reason, and you might not even understand why they don't like you, but they just don't like you. Now, the people that you connect with, the people that you actually genuinely think are friends at work, as you work as an animator, under pressure, crunch time, all of that stuff. Those people are going to be super important for your journey as an animator, because they will give you balance in an environment that's going to have no balance whatsoever. Making games is hard, making films is hard. There's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of work that needs to be done really quickly at high quality, right? Having people that surround you, they kind of like give you advice and give you some knowledge or give you some tips and tricks on how to get things better, faster, that is going to be incredibly valuable to you. If you start doing that from before you are an animator, you understand the value of people that surround you and how they can help you in and outside of work, you are going to be in a great place as an animator. Number 9, learning is the answer to everything. And this goes in and outside of animation. Animation, as I keep saying in this channel, is something that will actually take you a lifetime to master. There's never a point that you will learn all animation possible. It's never going to happen. You will spend your whole lifetime learning. Now, there's other things out there that you can learn too. The gist here is that if you want to know about it, or if you're curious about it, guarantee there must be a book out there that talks about it, right? Or somebody that knows about it that can tell you how to do it. Always be a scholar in this life. Be street smart as well. Check out the video that I did about scholars versus street smart. Knowledge is the key here, because learning, it is the answer for everything. And even if you don't know it and you get stuck, make mistakes, etc., as long as you're willing to learn, especially as you become a professional animator, things will be better for you. Because all the people that I've known that are at the top of their game right now have always been people that keep their mind open, and if they make a mistake, they admit it and then go, how can I actually do it better? Teach me how to do it better. Teach me how not to reproduce this again. Teach me how not to actually make the same mistake again. People that are hard-headed, people that don't really change their minds and just think they are always right, they have very short careers in this industry. And the reason why is because the games is always changing. It's an ever-evolving industry. So you need to actually have a mind open for you to learn new things and adapt to the times. This is why learning is everything. Now, last but definitely not least, we have tip number 10. And tip number 10 is basically that impatience is toxic. And the reason why is because if you actually are always looking at what's in the future, you will miss what's right in front of you. This is because impatience, right? You want to get there, and you want to get there now and not tomorrow and not the day after. You want to get there right now. And having that attitude towards your future, towards animation, it means that you don't really enjoy the journey. And animation is genuinely about the journey that you take to be a great animator. Because all throughout your animation career, you're going to find different stages. At different stages, you're going to find different people, and that those people are going to connect with you for different reasons. However, when you look back to all the times that you had together, all the projects that you've made, all the things that you've done, good and bad, you will look back at them with fondness. You'll look back at them and think, man, I was so dumb. Or you'll be like, look back at them and be like, man, that was actually all right. Turned out great. And then you can talk to your mates about it and be like, you know what? I didn't thought this was going to turn out so great. However, if you actually don't appreciate the moment, the present, you will miss all of that, because you'll see it towards the end that the project was good and you should have spent more time enjoying your mates instead of being like not such a nice person with everybody else. And that's all I had. 10 tips for you guys that hopefully will get you guys unstuck in this animation journey that you have in front of you. Now, as final thoughts, I wanted to say that every individual is different. There's many more tips than this for you guys to actually get unstuck. This is just 10. It's a round number. I liked it, and this is the very first things that came to mind when I thought about the most important things. But there's much more, and you guys will have certain things that work for you perfectly that are not in this list. However, I want to say that the most important thing that you can take from these tips is that you need to persevere in this career in animation. If you really want to be an animator, you really need to actually get stuck in and think that this is a long-term thing. Because people that are impatient, and I know that we are right now in a society that lives off YouTube and short clips and TikToks and Instagrams, and people have a few seconds attention span max. It's difficult to kind of break away from that mentality and then think lifetime of work for animation, because that feels like it's going to take forever. So if you want to make a difference, stick to animation, stick to a goal, stick to an art form, and then just try to be the best you can be at it, because it pays off big time. That's all I had for you guys. I hope this was useful. As always, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about all this, and if any of these tips you found that it rang true to you, or you actually kind of exercising already some of these tips. Always love to hear from you guys. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the like button so more people get to see this video. And as always, thanks very much for my Patreons for supporting me every single month, making sure that this channel keeps alive and I keep doing this thing on a weekly basis. That's all I had for you guys. I hope you guys have a good week. As always, stay well, stay safe. Peace.